Sorry, wrong cat shirt. Currently shirtless. Much more fitting. This build is in memorial of RF Greenwood, or perhaps it's KF. I bought this case from a lot from his son, who wasn't particularly young, so he may not even be alive anymore. The other reason is from this comment. Thanks, Howdy.
Hey!
It originally came with a 350 watt power supply, but we'll be replacing that. This entire build is based around the fact that it was originally built in on 420, and I'd like to think the chance he was blazed while I did it was pretty high. So then the immediate question is, what hardware I'm going to use to keep this 420 theme going? Well, I'm glad I asked. The first suggestion was a Celeron D420, but I'd like to keep using the same motherboard that I found in this case, which is a Gigabyte GA-K8NF-9, a socket 939 board with the first generation of PCI Express. So I needed a 939 processor. I have a couple 3500 pluses, but that won't do. Here we go, a 4200 plus. That's our chip. Poor Mr. Greenwood. This came out a month later and I'm sure he would have used it. We have 2 cores at 2.2 gigahertz with 2 sets of 512 megabyte L2 cache with an 89 watt TDP, and it was $600 when it released. I got it for 30 bucks. I would like to have gotten something haha funny for the RAM, but I could have gotten like 4.2 gigabytes or anything like that. So I just have 2 sticks of DDR400 Geil memory for a total of 1 gigabyte, and instead I'm wearing weed socks. For the GPU, I could have gone with something like a GeForce 4 MX 420, but that's pretty balls. So instead, I opted for a GT 420, an OEM card with 1 gigabyte of DDR3 VRAM. It's not great either, but given it came out in 2010, it'll probably be fine. For the power supply, I managed to find a 420 watt unit. A bit overkill maybe, but this was a necessary purchase. And finally, the cherry on top, or what would have been a 240 gigabyte SSD, but that wasn't being detected. So I am currently using a 40 gigabyte IDE hard drive. So here's the finished build. It's not that good looking, but I'm betting it performs great on Windows XP. Okay, so I had to find the common OS that everything has drivers for, and XP is our man. Now that means I won't be connecting this thing to the internet. That would be risky. I do have games that should run. Okay, change of plans. A lot went wrong with this PC. I mean, at its heart, it's a gag machine. Windows XP was a bust. During installation, it would just shut off. I tried different power supply, RAM, CPU, GPU. The only thing I didn't change was the motherboard, which could have potentially been the issue, but that's a pretty key ingredient for these brownies, if you know what I'm saying. There wasn't anything in the BIOS that helped me either, and I tried XP Service Pack 1, 2, and 3, and I even tried Vista. All had the same issue, but not all hope was lost. Linux came in to save the day, much like how it does today, with Windows continuously becoming creepier and harder to run. For some reason, I had Ubuntu on a disk, and that worked. I was stuck on this for a week, but finally have an OS now. So I believe that's Linux 1 Bad Guy 0. Unfortunately, that means all of the old games I have on disk will no longer be used. And luckily, Steam doesn't work either. Wait. Oh, looks like I'm missing instructions. Not to worry, because we still have piracy. I meant emulation. Yeah, that's right. It's time for the green marks, boys. It's time for the green marks. On GBAM, Pokemon Crystal runs how you would expect what can't run GBC. NES works just as well, and with an FPS counter we're getting a solid 60 FPS. What else do you expect? This is where I expected the PC to fall off, but no. It even does 64 emulation quite well at 800 by 600 resolution in both Smash Brothers and Ocarina of Time. Very impressive considering we're still trying to perfect this today on handheld systems. And this is definitely thanks to the GT420, a garbage tier bargain bin GPU from 2010. In terms of general usage, it's not optimal. Web browsing takes ages, and with only a gig of RAM, LibreOffice works good enough, but good luck using this for more than a meme. So that brings us to the conclusion. Was this fun? No. Should you build this? Don't. But will I leave this together to admire with my dinner guests as I sip wine? No, I don't drink and I don't have guests. Oh, and I gotta use this hardware for other systems. But no, this was a fun experiment that only happened because I buy old hardware and the people who watch me hate me. On that note, go and leave hate and comments. If it's silly enough, I may dedicate my life to it. That is the end of the video. Just do it. I don't know what to do. You do something, figure it out.